Tiffany here, and welcome to my Quilting Live. We're here with Fun Friday, part 2, working on the new pattern, and yeah, so I'm going to finish sewing what we were sewing earlier. What I was sewing. If you guys are doing it, obviously it's a we. So, hi Teresa, welcome back. All right, so back to sewing my 2.5-inch strips with my 1-inch strip in the middle of them. And I'm just going to try to zoom through the rest of these pieces, and then we'll press them and get to cutting the next sections, next pieces. I'm just going to try to get these done. Making sure I keep my quarter inch seam. That's very important. We want this strip to finish at 5 inches. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Billy. Welcome back, guys. Trying to get this done, get all these pieces sewn together so we get to the next step. I had to go eat myself some lunch, go potty, have a smoke, and now I'm back. These from this is 2.5 inches with a 1-inch strip in the middle. I will, like I said, I'll take another piece of paper and write the whole thing out on paper in Sharpie and then post that pattern in the group as soon as I get farther along, probably later today sometime. And then anything else, you guys can just refer to the videos, obviously, since they'll always be here. But I'm cutting, mine were cut, these strips itself were cut from the Tonga Treats, the Timeless Treasures Tonga Treats. So if you're using 2.5-inch strips, you will need an accent color for these. And then you'll need an accent color for the next, for your background color as well. They don't, I mean, you can make them the same if you want, or you can make them different. I made mine different. But that's because I'm using originally 6-inch strips. And obviously sewing a 1/4-inch seam. And as soon as I get to the next part, I'll give you guys all the measurements for the background color and the accent color. It'll be a very, very fun one, that's for sure. And the reason for finger pressing first is because ironing will be so much easier. All I have to do is make sure that the strips sets are laying flat when I go to iron.
Water bottles?
No, I filled them all up.
Okay, because you got 2 in your room.
Oh. No, I'm good. So here's another one. The other ones I took from right here, they were all laying in a pile. I threw them on the ironing board. So that way, when I get to that step, I could show you guys. The ironing will go fast because everything's finger pressed. You could probably chain piece this whole thing by hooking all these sets with their centerpiece as well, if you wanted. Is anybody else doing any sewing today? If so, what are you sewing? Making more frogs. You're having fun with those frogs, aren't you? I think they're adorable. Definitely something for kids to love. If you're not using batiks, make sure they are 100% right sides together. With batiks, it's really, really hard to tell. Some aren't, but some the front top side is a lot brighter. What's hard? Your little frogs? And I got skimpy with my quarter seam again. Let's try to keep that. Try to keep it on the line. Well, they're that hard, then I can't do it. I don't like hard. I like simple. I'm a simple kind of person. But then I'm really good at making beginner stuff, you know, like beginner patterns and stuff for designing wise, at least. I could follow a pattern though. My own patterns are easy for me to follow though. They might be harder for you guys to understand, but for me, it's like it's in my head, so it makes it a little bit easier being in my head. Tedious, huh? That's just because you're doing the same thing over and over again, or it's the little bits that you're trying to do. Is that what it is?
Everybody must be busy. A lot of people on.
Yeah, well, it's because it's Friday on an afternoon.
Yeah.
Everyone's still at work. But that's okay. My videos can be watched later. Anybody knows that? And they'll know I sew fast, so I will have it done, hopefully, in one day. That way I can get back to all the other stuff I'm supposed to be doing. Teresa says hi.
I said hi.
Why do I have to tell her? You could just say hi.
Okay.
Because you're right here.
Well, I'm playing with the baby.
He's playing with the baby on the floor. Hi, Linda. It's okay. Oh, don't let that mouse get touched any other way. It'll knock me offline.
I didn't want to touch it.
I'll move the mouse out of the way, guys, so that the baby can't grab it and take me off the
She didn't
screen.
do that on purpose.
Oh, no, I know.
She was flinging around and got by accident.
Did I already say it's okay, Linda? It's fine. I've only been on for 10 minutes. Piece number 3. Or strip set number 3, or whatever you want to call these. I'm pretty sure this is considered a strip set. because it's a set of strips together.
I don't think you fell in them up. You know it.
They always put them on a taller shelf. One of them leaks though. One of them, the cap didn't screw on all the way. The baby's after all my water bottles for the iron.
That's why we're all good.
And add a bobbin again. Ah, shit.
Oh.
Oops, sorry. I just dropped all my bobbins everywhere.
Trying to get them. What someone else does.
There's still more. I got bobbins everywhere.
I got it. Roll those up.
Did none fall into the trash?
No.
Hopefully none fell into the trash.
No, it fell. That side of it. Wait, allergies. Crazy.
Alright. I gotta clean up my bobbin mess, guys. Get them all back into the little thingy. And trim them all now because now they're all super long and everywhere. Just throw them all in here. Hope that I don't drop it all again. Usually that doesn't happen.
Oh well, things happen. It's okay. You got me and the baby here to help. Help to make messes. We'll make messes, won't we? I need to blow my nose quick, Sasha. Get all those sneezes.
I'm missing some. Quite a bit, actually.
Didn't see any more. She doesn't have any. Her hands are empty. Check your trash. I didn't see none in there. How many are you missing? That's quite a bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at least.
Whoa. Not right here.
Yep, all in the trash. They fall under that.
No. You sure you had that many in there?
Yep, here's one right here.
Oh, then they fell way in there.
Yep. I'll clean them all up later.
Yeah, I gotta blow my nose.
I just got to remember that they're all down there. Oops. Yeah, it's allergy season. That's why he's sneezing up a storm. I got to roll some bobbins while we're here, guys. Goes quite quick, though, bobbin rolling. Kind of saw that happening someday, dropping my bobbins everywhere out of the case.
Where'd the monster go?
I have no idea. Guess while that's going, I can look under here. There's still more missing. Crawling around trying to find all my bobbins. That's something that don't happen during my live feeds. Now it has. Nope, you didn't miss nothing. Just sewing these pieces, getting ready to press them off so that I can cut up the next section that's needed. Let's roll one more. Shouldn't need this many, but I didn't have a full one in when I started, and then I put a full one in. Oh, there they are. So that's the 4 more that was missing. I didn't see those sitting over there. Got to place them away from me. So now there shouldn't be any more. There we go. That should be the rest of them. 1, 2, 3 empty spots. All right, let's finish up this one. All right, let's get this rethreaded and start it back up. All right. I even opened the window for more light to come through today. So the window is open next to me so that way you guys have a clear video. As clear as I can get it, at least. All right. Sew down this flip it around. Open the whole thing up. And finger press it. I'm always finger pressing towards my little 1-inch strip. That way when it's closed, it creates one solid piece again. The cool part about this being from one strip is the rest of the design is on the opposite side. It's kind of cool, actually. So it just, it's got a little gap in it. As long as I keep my pieces exactly the way they came off, obviously. Doesn't matter if it doesn't, though. But if you're using maybe directional fabric, then it would probably be nice to have it set up neatly. I found the rest.
Got all 4?
Yeah, there was 3 right here. I didn't even know we're sitting here, and then I got the one from under the table.
Okay.
Yeah, got them
We're
all.
good?
Yep.
All right. Yeah. Hi again, everybody. We're in here watching the baby play with water bottles and Play-Doh.
Yep. Well, not the Play-Doh itself, just the container.
The container, the Play-Doh in it.
We won't give the baby Play-Doh. No way.
Not yet. Another year or so.
For beginners, using 1-inch strips might be a little harder at first.
Leave it up
They're
there.
so small,
Leave it up
but
there.
once you get
I don't want
a
you
couple
pulling
strips
irons
sewn,
down.
it's not that bad.
I don't want you pulling irons down. No. You don't need to pull an iron. You stop it. She's kicking.
Play-Doh, that won't hurt her. Oh yeah, I've seen the DIY videos for making homemade Play-Doh for children. That's safe if they put it in their mouth. Yeah,
No, you
I've
can't.
seen that.
You
We
can't.
don't let her play with it either way. Not yet. She likes to play with everything else anyway.
Anything that's not a toy, like water bottles, boxes.
All kids like boxes.
We go outside, we have tons of yard toys, and what she want to do? Sit and play with
rocks.
the stones. Sit and play with stones. Yeah.
All right, get this on, and I have one more to make. And I can get to the next part. And there we go with that skimpy seam again. Why does it keep happening? I have my guide on here. There we go. Like I said, guys, even with a seam guide, I can't even sew a straight line. And it's not that I sew too fast, because if I go slow, it still ends up crooked. I don't know how I do it, I just do it. But a skimpy seam is a scant 1/4 inch, so some patterns call for that. This one doesn't, as long as it's consistent 1/4 inch. You want your blocks to come out being your strips to come out to 5 inches. That's how the pattern will work. Yes, definitely. And thank you. Yeah, I like these colors. Like I said, I'm more of a bright colored person, but these browns, tans, golds, blues, and blacks are really nice. They definitely complement each other very nicely. And I'll show you what I mean by from the same cut when I put the pieces together, because here's a lighter piece that'll probably be easier to tell what I'm talking about with the piece being split in half and then adding a piece to it. What's happening is the pieces, the end of the pattern comes around to this side and it just has a gap, but the pattern finishes itself, if you see that. So it's pretty cool how it finishes like that, you know? The rest of the pattern is from one side and then it has a little gap and then it splits to the other side. So using the 6-inch strips from the thing and then cutting and using those first 2 pieces together, it looks great. I like it. Yeah, I think it is. It's too bad these timeless treasures things cost so much. They're very expensive, these ones. It's like $36 for one little pack. Or else I would have more of them, but I only had 2. I technically had 3 originally, but I used one to make another pattern on a unfinished project that's in a box. I got tons of these started projects that I've got to start getting finished. Like the customer quilt, which is, well, you guys can't see it in the camera, but it's like right next to me, behind me. Gotta get that going. I'm on the next step, so that's next step for video. Give her a spoon and stones. Yep, exactly. Or just give her some pots and pans and stuff from the kitchen and some cups. She likes cups. She definitely likes anything but actual kid toys. It's funny. She likes kid toys if they make noise. All right, last piece to sew, and I can get to pressing and get to the next part. No, it's just Sasha here. She's out playing with Scott right now. And sounds like she's in Cyrus's room. Hi, Sonia. Hi, Diane. It's okay. You're not late. I'm just finishing up these strips now. This was the last one, this strip set. So I'm going to get to pressing them and start on the next part so that you guys can see all the next steps. And I'll just give measurements and stuff as I go because it's easier that way. So if I tell you now, then I will probably get myself lost even. But see, these are so cool. I like the teaks. All right, so I'm going to take this over to the ironing board, and I'm going to turn the camera down to the ironing board so that you guys can watch the next part. Because I'll be down here at the ironing board for a few minutes. Let me just get the camera turned real quick. Ah, stay. I got a fan on. It's blowing my stuff everywhere. All right, so remember, these are lights and darks. 10 darks, 10 lights was 20 things. And I made sure that I... There we go. Made sure that the colors, the 10 darks mixed with the 10 lights, cut the 2.5-inch strips, had 1 inch left from my 6-inch strips and put it in the middle. And if you got them correct, see how it looks like one solid piece? That's how you know you got them correct. So since I finger pressed, all I have to do is, make sure that they're nice and straight on the ironing board. Batiks don't usually bend that much, so they should stay nice and straight if I don't do that, obviously. And give it a little steam if you want. Make sure that you don't have anything folding. And I'm just going to press them and put them out of my way. Hi, Susan. I just saw the notification still. Cheating and watching. So make sure my piece is nice and flat. Like I said, it should be. Just run the iron across it. They should be flat, so you should only have to go back and forth once. I'm just going to stack them out of the way so that we can get to the next part. We don't want any bowing though, so make sure they're flat. And if you don't trust if they're flat or not, do like on Jordan Fabrics. She takes a yardstick, the metal one, which my metal one is out in the garage. She takes a yardstick and lines it up right here to make sure that the piece is not bowing or anything, and lays nice and flat up against it. These should be laying flat though, because they are batiks. Batiks don't usually, like I said, they don't usually bend like you would think, like other fabrics do. So obviously with the next section, we'll have to check because I'm using regular fabric for the next section. Just want to make sure that there's no folds in this at all, because we don't want to change the size. We want these to be 5-inch strips. Hi, Linda. I'm good. Just working on this new pattern for you guys. And all the instructions will go in the group later, like I was saying earlier that you missed. It'll just be pictures though, with the directions written on paper with a Sharpie, and then I'll put it on paper. So don't mind any drawing parts and my sloppy writing, obviously, later. It'll all be there though later once I get done making it, because right now it's just on pencil and I have to rewrite it all. But I will do that for you guys, since I can't make a PDF at the moment. I mean, I can, but it would just be verbal, or just writing instructions, which makes it hard to write out. See how quick these are pressing. So there should be 20 strip sets altogether. They lay so super flat too. They're doing not a good day for me. Well, Michelle, when you come visit, we can go, because Alexa works at Tuesday morning now. So we can use her discount. So just so you guys know, when I get to the next step, these are considered the lights, and then this would be considered the darks. So there should be 10 light sets and 10 dark sets. So when I write it down on the paper later, you guys will know 10 lights and 10 darks. With a jelly roll, it's going to be the same thing. Just put your 2 matching jelly roll colors together of darks and 2 matching of those. And then you'll have your 1-inch strips that go in the middle, obviously, because you need 2.5-inch strips per strip set. So you can just as well use the jelly roll. Almost done with this step, and then I'll turn the camera over to the cutting table and get that part done. Yeah, I can't wait to go. I'm going next Friday to use her discount. See what I can get, what kind of trouble I can get into with fabric.
Do lunch then, here, honey.
Okay. All right. Usually they're always all out too, so I'm hoping that she's been putting the good stuff aside or secretly hiding it for me. That would be smart. Almost done. And I made sure to press my background and accent color, the yardage. I pressed it, my 3 yards, because like I said, it's 3 yards that's going to be needed of the background color, and then 3/4 of a yard of the accent. And 2 more pieces to do. The fan really doesn't help at all. Hopefully it doesn't blow all my pieces onto the floor. All right, those are done. I'm going to unplug the iron for the next step. Okay. I'm going to turn the camera over, guys. Hi. The cutting area. Sorry about the motion. Hopefully you all can see that whole area. Ah, stop. Stay. All right. Got all these water bottles right here that the baby threw. Gotta pick them up, move them. All right. So my accent color is black. Obviously, the screen doesn't look exactly like that. Sometimes I found that yesterday. Bell's palsy. You have to put one of your dogs. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. Like, that's pretty crazy. All right, these are going to be 1-inch strips. So the accent color, you're going to cut 20 1-inch strips. Yes, and I'm cutting, I have the fabric folded in half, obviously. So I'm getting 2 per every cut. So that means I only need to make 10 cuts. And this little 1-inch is kind of hard to do, but I'm going to do it as best as possible. We're going to put the weight on here. I'm going to do my best to hold this on this line and carefully cut my 1-inch strips. The further I get away from the edge of this table, the easier it is to cut them. So I'm going to separate that, cut another 1-inch strip, and just keep going all the way down. I'm going to switch out to my other ruler, though, because I could see better with the pink line. All right. Put this on here at 1 inch. Put it up there at 1 inch. Get there. And that should be on the line. Come on. I don't like this ruler for these inch cuts. I like it for the 1/2-inch cuts. Anything that's like 1.5, 2.5, so on and so forth. Because I can't see very well. Maybe if I took my glasses off, I could see that a lot better. And I'm not using my other mat.
Right here.
But also be better. You can hear that cut right there. So there's 2, 3, 4. Line this back up again. There. Right there. Six. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Can't see it right there. Seven, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Nine, 10. Gotta go to 20. I think I'm going to swap out mats with the one in the garage so that I have my inch lines, because I really can't see this very good. Well, that way I can just go by the lines on the mat. You know, can't go by the lines on the mat with this mat because they're not exactly the right size. 13, 14. I have a weight. It's I'm using it. That's what that sound is, that clunk sound that you guys are hearing. Yeah, I'm definitely switching to my other mat. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and the last cut would be 20. $19.20. There we go. Okay, so I got 20 of those. Let me put this ruler back because that's just for cutting dark fabrics. Move this out of the way. Move this out of the way. Okay, so here's my 20 of the 1-inch strips of my accent color. 20 1-inch accent color strips. Whatever your accent color ends up being. Okay, you need 20 of those. So I'm going to move these out of the way. And now to grab my background color, which I have folded up in 4s because I'm trying to cut a lot of layers at once with this. So I'm going to make sure that my line is nice and straight. I'm going to put them all super close so that I can make a straight line, because I don't want to lose too much. I only have 3 yards of this and I need at least 100 inches. And 3 yards is 108. So I'm pretty much going to be using 3 yards, obviously. We're going to bring this a little bit over because I don't want to cut off too much. Slide this down. I'll make my first cut really nicely. So I'm cutting through 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 layers. If you're not comfortable, then do it just singular, but I have double folded, and I'm going to cut 8 layers. So I'm going to straighten up this side right here. And like I said, you don't have to cut this many layers. This is just me trying to get things done faster. So I'm going to come over here and right hand cut this so that I know it gets cut correctly. It's an awkward angle to cut in. Definitely an awkward angle. All right. Now I have my nice straight line. Now these, the background color, oops, yeah. we're going to cut the background color into 5-inch strips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Find your 5 and cut 5-inch strips. And you need 20 of them. And I'm cutting 4 at a time. So let's line this up. Put my weight up here because this is a lot of layers. So there's 4. Cutting 20 of these 5-inch strips. There's 8. There's 12. All right, now I gotta build that up just a little so I don't chop it wrong. Okay, and there's 16. So I'm just going to take these 4 and stack them way the heck over here. And I'm going to carefully pick this next piece up and slide it over so that I can make one more 5-inch cut up here. So that gives me 25-inch strips. Like I said, that's why we used 3 yards, because this is all I have left is 2 about 5-inch strips as well. So we'll move that out of the way. So I'm going to make them into 2 stacks of 10 now. So I got 2 stacks of 10, and now I'm going to separate them. Because 1 stack of 10, we're going to take the pieces. You can just do 2 at a time if you want, or 4 at a time, because it's going to be the same number. We're going to have 2 different numbers here. So I think I'll just do 4, only because I can do it. So there, nice and aligned, keeping them pretty. We're going to take 10 of them, and we're going to cut them into 3.5 off of it, and there should be 1.5 left. So 3.5 and 1.5. And if you want, you guys can cut the 3.5s, 10 of those, and 10 1.5s off of your background. You can do it that way if you want, if it's easier. I wanted to just do it from the 5-inch cuts. So if I cut 3.5, I'll show you with the ruler. Where's the ruler? Right here. I should have 1.5 left. So it lines up on the 1.5. So I have 3.5, 1.5. I made this quite easy for beginners to be able to follow. So 10 of your 5-inch strips are now being subcut into 3.5 with a remainder of 1.5. Okay. So there's my 3.5, there's my 1.5. I'm just going to stack them on top of each other and move them out of the way. Again, I'm going to cut 4 more. Make sure that they're nice and together. Staying nice and straight. There we go. Don't want them getting messed up, out of order. Again, 3.5 with a remainder of 1.5. A 3.5-inch cut and a 1.5-inch cut. This is why I said that it's easy to follow along, because I can say it a bazillion times during the video, you know? That way nobody gets lost doing it. All right, so I'm cutting my 3.5, and it'll leave me with 1.5. Only to 10 of your 5-inch strips. Oops, I didn't get that in very well. Move this, stack them on top of each other, put it out of the way for now. And my last 2 pieces for this strip unit set. This one's going to be again 3.5 and 1.5 to 10 of the 5-inch strips. Or you could just cut 10 3.5-inch strips and 10 1.5-inch strips from your yardage. Either way, it'll all equal the same amount. I'm just doing it this way because it was easier for me. All right, so there's the last of those. Now we're going to take the other 10. Try to keep them all nice together. And these ones are going to be cut. I better align that just right, or else that one's going to get off. All right. Let's just make my piles now. That way all I have to do is cut. I'll move it out of the way. Line it up nice and straight, keeping everything all together. As if you cut tons of layers, you could do it all separately if you want. I don't mind cutting tons of layers because the rotary cutter from Teresa, that's the 60mm blade, works so good cutting 8 to 12 layers of fabric. Some people aren't comfortable with that, but it doesn't bother me. So this next set of 10, we are going to cut 2.5 inches, and the other side will be 2.5 inches when it's done. So line it up on 2.5, and your last piece, again, if you don't think your cut is correct, just take the other ruler, and both sides are 2.5 exactly. So I'm just going to cut them 2.5. So if you wanted, you can cut 10 times 2. Yeah, you cut 20 2.5-inch strips off of your background fabric if you wanted to do it that way with all of it instead of cutting the 5-inch. Like I said, I like cutting the 5-inch. To me, it seemed easier. And obviously, I'm going to keep them together because they're just going to go together anyway when I sew them. You're like thinking, this doesn't make any sense, Tiffany? Well, just wait till we lay it out. It didn't cut right there very well. And the last one, 2.5 inches. Just gonna slide all this out of the way. Oops. I saw that happening. Keep it together. Just trim it away. There we go. Nice and straight. 2.5 inches. And what's going to happen here is when you sew your accent color in between these, it'll turn it right back into a 5-inch strip, which is what our jelly roll colors are. All right, so we're done with the ruler and rotary cutter. I'll turn the camera back up and we'll get to the next part, which is sewing these with accent colors. So let me turn the camera up just a little. Back to sewing right there. Here we go. All right. So technically I could just like put them side to side, you know what I mean? But I'm going to try to keep them together while I do this. I'm going to grab my accent colors, my accent color singular. So I have my 1-inch strips and my 2.5-inch strips. I'm going to take and bring these over to me like so. Making a big, huge pile next to me. And now I'm going to do the same thing that I just did with all the jelly roll pieces. I'm going to sew one of my strips in between each accent color. So sewing them all together. I'm gonna put this back on so I can see. All right. So I'm just going to grab one. And again, with solids, it's hard to tell a right and a wrong side. So it really doesn't matter, but I'm still saying right sides together, obviously. And now I'm going to sew these. I'm still using my black thread as well. These stretch a little bit more, these fabrics, compared to batiks. So watch how you're sewing them. Just don't tug or pull. Just lay it on top. I would say pin them, but it's easier just to hold. See how my fingers are in between the fabric? It's easier just to hold it and line it up, like, you know, adjust your finger like this to line it up as you go, and just hold it down. Sewing a 1/4 inch seam, and then just adjust as you go. I'm not stretching or anything. I'm just holding my 2 fingers, you know, the same way down here, though, a little bit below the extension table. These are just a little bit harder to finger press as well. They're not going to be as flat, and they stretch, so unfortunately I'll have to be careful not to stretch, tug, or pull. All right. So again, I'm finger pressing towards the black, towards my dark color, always towards the middle 1 inch piece. I'm trying to be super careful not to cause any folding, but unfortunately it keeps happening. So I'm going to stretch it apart a little bit better. Depending on the type of fabric you're using, that's what you just want to make sure of. So if you have to press with an ironing board, you can. All right. Now I take one of these and go on the opposite side, creating a 5 inch strip, pretty much what it was before I took it apart. So if you're using a fabric that has some kind of print on it as your background color, then it'll still look really nice, you know. You guys know me, I like to use solids though. I don't know why. You can create the same effect with a solid as you do with one that reads solid, a print. But I didn't have enough yardage of anything to be able to add to the batiks, and I don't have anything but fat quarters for batiks other than, you know, I don't have any yardage. Not anything that was to go with browns, blacks, and blues, and tans, and copper colors and gold colors, you know, because that's what all that is. And I ordered that border fabric, so it should be here in a couple days. So I'm just going to go ahead and sew all of these together. And I'm going to turn it to this side, putting that side on my lap. That way I can open it up, finger press to the black or the center, same thing. This one is not wanting to lay like the other one does. So what you're going to have when it's completely done is a racing stripe right down the center of this set. at least. So obviously we're making 10 of these 2.5 on each side with the 1 inch in the middle. Again, if you want to make sure for a fact that it came back out and your 1/4 inch is good, you put your ruler on it, and mine lines up exactly at 5 inches. You want to make sure, because if you have that 1/4 inch seam off, it's going to mess up the strip tube that we're going to be making. Real quick, I'm going to show you how the other set goes together. So it's the same thing with the 3.5 and 1.5 inch pieces. So again, you would take the 3.5 inch piece and you grab your 1 inch accent color. Put them right sides together. And sew down it, except the piece is a little bit bigger. It's 1 inch bigger, to be clear. Yeah. Well, before I had that 60mm blade, I struggled with cutting through lots of layers. I was at the most with my small 45mm able to cut like 6 layers. Now I can do 8 or more, just depends. So again, I'm just using my fingers just like this. I have the thumb on the top, first finger in the middle, and my middle finger on the bottom, just guiding the fabric along as I go. Sewing my 1/4 inch seam. Now we're going to take, press to the dark, same as we've been doing. I'm going to move that down so that I don't knock it down. So I'm just pressing it to the dark, making sure that there's no folds along it. It's very hard because it's such a small, thin little piece, but trust me, this is going to look good. I just know it. I can feel it. It's going to look good. Pressing to the dark. Pretty much always pressing towards my center. So now I'm going to take my 1.5 inch piece. So this one's a little bit different. My 1.5 inch piece is going to go now on this side. Right sides together. So it's going to be a little bit more awkward because it's adding another small piece. So just watch your 1/4 inch seam. Watch them lining up. Fold it down. Trying to keep things nice and straight. Nice and long. And if you cut your own yardage, obviously, then you don't have to worry about that fold. You know, some yardage when you cut in the fold, it has like it goes crooked or whatever. Mine are pretty darn straight. If you tell, you know, you're not gonna mess it up doing your own yardage. I know that with jelly rolls, some of them have a really big curve in the middle, and we don't want to lose that fabric. We want to be able to cut in the middle too, because we need as many strips or as many blocks as we can get out of this. We should be able to get 6 cuts per strip unit. Should be. Might be able to get 7. That would be cool if we could. Because it'll just make it one more row bigger. So I'm going to flip it around to this side. And again, this could be a little bit trickier to finger press to the dark because of the big piece. But I'm going to make it go that way because that's where we want it, is to the dark. I don't want it to have any folds. Again, you can get up and press between every one. That seems like a lot of extra work, though. I would rather just make them all, then get up and press. But, you know, if that's what you want to do, 90 to nothing on the sewing. Yeah, that's me. Sewing fast. Floor it and go. All right, so your next unit should look like this. Your next strip unit should be like this. So it's opposite. It's really big on one side and then really small on the other. So this was your 3.5. This was the 1.5. Again, it should be, you take your ruler and look, line it up. It should be 5 inches. I made sure I did all the math first, but I just want you guys to know. So we're making 10 of these units and 10 of these units. So you can see the difference in them. See where I'm going here? All right. Just wait. It will look awesome. Okay, so I'm going to make 10 of each. So obviously I'll just use what I got sitting up here already. And you can even start with the little one if you want to and then add the big one. It's just personal preference of how you're sewing. If that's what you grab first, it's no big deal. You can start by sewing the 1 inch to the 1.5 inch and so on and so forth. I'm just kind of grabbing and sewing. And I'm not yanking or tugging. As long as my 1/4 inch seam is accurate. And I'm using black thread for this whole project. Only because there's a lot of darks. And since I'm pressed to the dark, you're not going to see any of that fabric thread unless the seams pull apart. And that's only going to happen if you don't use a tight enough stitch length. So I have mine set at a 2.0 stitch length. Reason for that is because these are going to be getting subcut. So you want to make sure that your stitch length is good enough for being subcut. The tighter the stitch length when you subcut something, the easier it is to keep it together and not fall apart. Alright. So I'm just going to press it to the dark, add the 3.5 inch one onto the other side. This piece is a little bit harder when you start with the small piece. I'm having fun with this though. As you guys can tell, this one's pretty going to be like that part so far is pretty fun to do. Wait till it gets put together. You guys are going to be like, what? That's so awesome. Or however you guys describe coolness, because Tiffy has gone and created something new. Never been done. And you guys get it for free, which is even more cooler. So like I said, you can stitch from either side. So say I wanted to have this on the top, the black on the top. You can stitch with that black on the top if you want. That's all personal preference. Or whatever your accent color is, you know. I just do it whatever's easiest for me, so. You do what's easy for you. Thank you, Teresa. I got a thumbs down the other day on a Shaving Thumper video. Kind of figured that one was going to have some people not liking it because it is shaving a cat. But the people that give it a thumbs down probably gave it a thumbs down because of like, why the hell are you shaving a cat? But you know what? When you live where I live, you shave your cat. Especially if your cat is as furry as mine is. I was actually going to turn that video into clickbait and put shaving my pussy. Because that means everybody would click on it. But obviously that's very bad for me to do. But you guys know me, I'm silly, so I didn't do it. Which you guys could tell, but it would have been funny. Because everybody would have clicked on that. Every man, woman, and child. Well, teenager. Obviously. Yeah, it is funny, right, Teresa? It would have been super funny. But I didn't do it that way. I just wrote my cat's yearly shave. I really wanted to be silly about it, though. I did. But I didn't do it. Just because. It was more like how easy it is to shave a cat. It's not that hard, so. Just depends on the cat, too. Some cats would probably freak the heck out. When it comes to pressing these, they're all going to be pressed exactly the same as you pressed the last strip unit. So that way you make sure it's nice and flat, make sure it's not bowed, because you can definitely press a bow into your fabric. Some people don't know that, but you can actually press a bow into your fabric. And that's not good. You don't want to do that. Just like you can press wrinkles and creases into it. You don't want to do that. So here's another one of the 3.5, 1.5 with the 1. Would be what does that say? Because they would be pod because it was a cat. Oh yeah, they would be mad because it wasn't really what they thought the video would be. I just thought it would be funny if I would have done it, It's not like I wasn't going to try to get new subscribers doing it that way. I was just trying to clickbait my video. The weirdest thing of all my videos is my subcuticular suture removal. And that one has like 6,000 views. That one really got viewed a lot. And then my my wheelchair makeover got a lot of views as well. Like, I don't know, it was like 3,000 or something. They're definitely up there in numbers. The rest of my videos have 200, 300, and 400 views, which isn't bad. That's because he's used to it, Teresa. He's super used to it. Every year he wants to be shaved, and he's like hyper. He's just been playing and playing. And then at night, when it's cooled down because the windows and doors are open, he lays on his quilt in my room to keep warm. Because it still was kind of too cool to cut him just yet, but it's going to be warm quick, and I got to do it when I feel good when I give him his shave. So. But yeah, he's like, it's like a kitten. He just wants to play. He wants everybody to rub up on him. He just takes a complete 360 and turns into a totally different cat. That way he doesn't have all that hair, and he licks himself less, which is kind of good because he usually did that in the middle of the night, and it's so annoying listening to all night long. Dogs do it too, though. Dogs always seem to start licking themselves, and cats, when you're trying to sleep. Yeah, definitely he feels better. Yeah, you should get the dogs groomed before it starts warming up. He'll get Thumper will get 1 or 2 more cuts before the summer's ends. Just depends on how fast his hair grows. Sometimes it grows really fast, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. So, but usually his last cut will be in September. That way he can grow back out for the winter, because by winter time he'll have full amounts of hair to keep him warm. I'm doing the 2.5-inch strips right now, by the way. because those are the ones that are closest to me. Hoping I can get this whole thing done in one day. Should be able to. You need a 1/4 inch seam. I gotta remind everyone that, because what's gonna happen is if you don't have a 1/4 inch seam and you ruin the size of it when you go to sew the tube together, because we're making strip tubes, obviously we're using a strip tube ruler. What's gonna happen is they will be bigger on one side and smaller on the other, which in turn will disorientate the block when you open it up. So when you cut from the strip tube ruler and you go to open up the square that comes from it, what's going to happen is it'll disorient it and it'll look differently, and then it won't lay up with the next one. So it's really important to pay attention to that 1/4 inch seam, because we want these pieces to lay a specific way. I bet, and it probably gets warm for him too, or her, because it's the her, right? Sadie, is that the one you're talking about? Is that her name? Sadie? I'm trying to think. Everybody has pets around here, you know. It's hard to remember everybody's pets' names. Yep. Okay. Yeah. Are you gonna get the puppy's hair trimmed too, Teresa? Yeah, I would do them both. That puppy's probably gonna be super happy. Out of Bobbin. I bet, chewing up it and burying things in pots. That's crazy. Chewing everything up. Oh, Diane, her dogs are like shepherds, like collies or something, like shepherd collie dogs. Do you shave them at all, Diane? Yeah, I knew it was shepherd of some sort. Right there. I'm just going to go ahead and chain piece this whole side. And then I'll chain piece on the other whole side. Because this is taking too long for me. Taking too long for me. Oh yeah, that works. I don't shave Thumper to the skin. I shave it to the smallest setting though, because if I don't, those little hairs will tickle him and then he'll constantly lick at it. Especially his belly. Because he has such a saggy gut. I gotta take it as far down as possible. Or else it just looks funny. It looks funny when it starts growing back. And I'm gonna step out of the camera for a second and change my shirt because I'm starting to get sweaty. All right. That was quick. Starting to get sweaty, so I gotta keep myself cool. What's funny? Keeping myself cool. Trying to make this faster on myself. Stay. I'm 23. Okay. So I'm just chain piecing all of these. Do you like your dog's long and fluffy hair? I don't have dogs, so I don't like long-haired dogs, though. I like short-haired dogs. I also don't like small dogs. I like big dogs. I mean, I like whatever. I'm not a dog crazy person, but if I was to have a dog again, I want a big short-haired dog. I don't want a little ankle biting barker. Huh?
$50, so I have to log on.
Okay. Hi, Susan. My dogs would roast with all the hair they have. Yeah, I bet. They are very, very fluffy. just chain piecing these now. Kind of trying to make it go faster. Houses are on the front porch and they have 35 acres to run. Oh, I saw that, Michelle. Okay. Isn't it fun not knowing what I'm actually creating with all these measurements? You guys are like, what is she doing, huh? You guys thinking that? You're wondering what's going to happen here? Very curious to know. So I had to put this together because I was curious of what it's really going to look like. On paper, it looks totally different from my head, you know. But once it's on a quilt, that makes or breaks my pattern, you know, whether it was good or not. So you guys get to see if it really is horrible or if it really is as awesome as what it would be on paper, you know. But I can't color the paper like the fabric color, you know what I mean? So it makes it hard. And you can't just make one block either because this is the kind of quilt that requires a ton of blocks to make the look of the quilt top that I'm trying to achieve. It's going to be one of those really cool looking looks though. Hopefully. Maybe it won't. Maybe it's just my brain looked at too many pieces of tile and made myself think that, oh, I can make that into a quilt. I see quilt patterns in everything now. All right, so I'm just going to come right back up to the top of this whole pile. I went too far. And now I'm just going to finger press the whole entire lot of them real quick, as best as possible. And I'll show you how it works to finger press. Or not finger press, adding the second one while chain piecing.
Where are we going?
I'm just going to finger press. Grab the next one and do it all the way down on both, right? Just like so. This is for those of you who are impatient like me and need to chain piece the whole project so it gets done faster.
Fans wondering what it's going to look like.
Yep. Oh, I asked them if they're curious, how curious they are to know. I know it would be nice for me to be able to show you what I'm making, like have an example like Missouri Star, something hanging on the wall. Because you guys know that I ain't got the money to make 2 of every single quilt.
Betty wants to know, would it be faster to press it with your iron?
Probably it would. Maybe. I'm not sure. I only finger press because what it does is it makes it easier for me when I get to the iron instead of trying to roll back this little piece. That's the part that makes it a little bit harder because this is a little 1-inch strip. I mean, on camera it probably looks bigger because it's black and it's gold, so what you see is a large piece. But in reality, it's the size of my finger. See, so it's pretty small. So when you try to press it back, all I'm going to do is distort the other piece. You get where I'm going? So, I mean, it might be faster with the iron if you want maybe one of those small little irons. and a mat right next to you, but I just do it this way, not like, I don't know what the word is. Okay, so like pretend I just finger pressed all of them. So just keeping them all still hooked together, you would go and chain piece the opposite side while they're all still hooked together. And just hold and sew. And just keep adding when you get to the next one. And you can do the same thing with the 3.5 and 1.5 inch strip unit that you're making too. So in turn, we're making 40 strip units and then gonna combine them and make 20 strip tubes.
They're saying Jordan Fabric, she finger presses all the time.
Huh?
Jordan Fabric, she finger presses
Yeah,
all the
Donna
time.
finger presses all the time. I finger press all the time too. I have this thing where I don't want to get up and go to the iron every second. Most of the time I just lay my blocks in front of me, finger press. They go together exactly the same, and then I press when all the blocks are together. So again, just add the next one. And the first piece is still connected. I mean, you can disconnect it if you want, but I'm just leaving it connected. Because that fun little gadget from Michelle will be what separates it. So I'll be able to chain piece and then separate them real quick. So yeah, if you want to press in between it all, if that is maybe the quicker way, I don't want to have to get up. The more up and down, the more I end up hurting because it puts a lot of strain on my legs. And yes, sitting puts strain on my lower back, but it's not as much as my legs. My hips don't like to hold up my weight, so I mean, it's not like I weigh a lot. It's just because my hips are bad, so very, very bad. Every one of your mastiffs runs and climbs on your lap when your puppy sneezes. Oh yeah, you've told me that. Is it only when he sneezes, Diane? What about when you sneeze or if you have company over and your company sneezes? See, so you can separate them if you want to, or keep them chained. Again, right sides together. The only reason why I know what is right side and what is wrong side on my solids is because this fold, obviously this was the right side of the fabric. The fold is what tells me which way. So if the fold is going up like this, like a mountain peak, that means that's my right side. If the fold is going down like a ditch, that means that's the wrong side. So that's how I know with my solids. That way you get, some solids have like the back of them is different than the front side. It's lighter or it's more pale than it is. So sometimes you can notice on a quilt when it's laid out in front of you that one of your pieces of a solid color was backwards because the back side was actually lighter, and you'll notice that difference. So I always just remember the peak and the ditch. That's how I know. Same with any fabrics, really. Because the pretty side is always on top. It always faces the outside of the bolt for everyone to see. what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a break. Let me tell you guys what we're at, though, just to make sure everybody's remembering. So we had 2 stacks of 10. We cut 5-inch strips off of my 3 yards of background color. My background color is considered this light color, okay? So I cut 20 5-inch strips. Then I separated them into 2 piles of 10. So 10 of them got cut 2.5 inch, 2.5 inch, which would be your leftover. So you cut the first 2.5 inches, and your next piece is 2.5 already pre-cut. Then your other pieces that you will be cutting are from the other stack of 10, the other 10 piece stack of 5-inch strips is a 3.5 inch piece, giving you a remainder of 1.5 inch piece. Then our accent color, which is the black, which would be this color for me, is black. Your accent color, which you needed 3/4 of a yard for, gives you 21-inch strips. You'll have some left over, obviously, but you need 20 inches. So 3/4 of a yard is close enough. Makes it easier, you know, when you go, hey, I need 20 inches. No, I'll just get 3/4 of a yard, you know, just in case your 1-inch cut ends up crooked or off. So you need 20 of those. And we're making a 3.5, 1-inch, 1.5 inch unit. You're making 10 of those. And then the 2.5, 1-inch, 2.5 inch unit, 10 of them. And when you put them together, they should be 5 inches again, because you didn't take away any size. That 1 inch, when sewn together, closes it back up again. So what you did was you took a 1/2 inch here and a 1/2 inch here. You took away an inch. You still have a 1/2 inch seeable, which gives you 5 inches. So I'm going to take a break, though. These units again for this section are 2 different units, 10 of these and 10 of these. So when I come back, I should have the rest of all these pieces sewn together, and then we'll get to the next part. So I'm going to go, though, for now. And if you're new to my channel, don't forget to subscribe. It's either this side or this side. I think you guys are flipped. I'm not sure, but it's one of these sides. And then hit the notification bell, and you get notifications when I'm on. I will be back on again later today, because today's Fun Friday. So we're going to have lots of fun making this brand new pattern and seeing what it turns out to look like. So I'm going to finish making up these strips and do a couple things around the house. And I will be back, guys. Bye.